Good morning everyone, I'm Miss Rose and welcome to Mathematics, Science and Technology. Our lesson for today is Essentials of Life Science. Our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student can define life science, differentiate between eukaryotes and prokaryotes, list and describe the parts of a cell, differentiate between the active and passive transport, discuss the phases of the cell cycle, and differentiate between mitosis and meiosis. So, life science is the science's complete field of science involving the study of living organisms such as the plants, animals, and humans. So, in other words, life science is biology. So, remains the centerpiece of the life sciences. Technological advances in molecular biology and biotechnology have led to pursuing of specialization and interdisciplinary fields. So that is life science. There are two categories in life science. First is the living things. For example, animals, bacteria, insects, and so on. Second one is non-living things, which is an example, rocks, water, air. So that is the two categories of life science. The next one is cell. So cell are the basic function down to the level of the different molecules on the cell. Cells also is the basic building blocks of all living things. In the human body is composed of trillions of cells. So they provide structure for the body. That's the main function of cells, taking the nutrients from food, convert those food into nutrients into energy and carry out specialized function. That is the main function of cells. And under the cells is cytoplasm, cell membrane, mitochondrion, nucleus, DNA, elastic, lysosome, ribosome, and Golgi apparatus. That's the component of the cell, parts of the cell. The next one is what is the role and functions of cells. So cells provide structures and function of all living things, from microorganisms to humans. Scientists consider them as the smallest form of life. So also, cells, they provide structure from the body, amina, take the nutrients from food, convert to the nutrients into energy of our body. So that's the main functions and role of cells. There are three groups based on their basic chemistry, structures, hereditary, material. So, first is eukarya. So eukarya are organisms whose cells have a nucleus infused within a nuclear envelope. Eukarya came from the root such as fungi, plants, and animals. While the archaea, or microorganisms that define the limits of life on Earth. So they are originally discovered and described in extreme environment, such as hydrothermal vents, terrestrial hot springs. So yun ang makikita si archaea. And the last one is the bacteria. So bacteria are the small single celled organisms. Bacteria are found almost everywhere on Earth. And also the common one are the vital to the plant cell ecosystem. So that's the three group based on their basic structures and hereditary material. So the next one is the eukaryotic or prokaryotic. So under the eukaryotic, it contains the two nucleus, which is separated by the nuclear membrane. So the nucleus contains the DNA. Any cell or organism that possesses a clearly defined nucleus. So the karyotic cell has the nuclear membrane that surrounds the nucleus. So that is eukaryotic. The next one is the prokaryotic. So So, do not contain a nucleus. That's opposite to the eukaryotic. Their DNA, usually single singular circular DNA. It contains within the cytoplasm and are not separated with the membrane. What is the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells? So, you know the definition that in eukaryotic cells, any cells that contains a clearly defined nucleus and membrane-bound organelles, while the prokaryotic cells is any unicellular organism that does not contain a membrane-bound nucleus or organelles. An example to these prokaryotic cells is found in animal, plants, fungi, and protozoals, while the prokaryotic cells found in bacteria and archaea. In nucleus naman, the eukaryotic cells is present, while the prokaryotic cells is absent. Wala siya. The next one is the cell size. Eukaryotic cell is the largest, 10 to 100 micrometers, while the prokaryotic cell is small, less than a micrometer to 5 micrometers. In DNA replication or DNA replica, in eukaryotic cell, highly regulated within the selected origin and sequence, while the prokaryotic cell that is replicates entire genome at once. In types naman sa organism, ang eukaryotic cells is usually multicellular, while the prokaryotic cells ay unicellular lang. In chromosomes, there are 2 or more than 1 chromosomes in eukaryotic cells, while the prokaryotic cell 1 and long single loop of being 8 plasmids. The next one in ribosomes naman, in eukaryotic cells is large, while the prokaryotic cells is small. In growth rate or generation time, in eukaryotic cell, the prokaryotic cell is faster in generated growth rate. In the organelles, ang eukaryotic cells is present, while the prokaryotic cells have no organelles. And ability to store hereditary information, in eukaryotic, all eukaryotes have this ability. Also, prokaryotics, they are similar. In cell wall, simple, present in plants and fungi, and prokaryotics is complex, present in all prokaryotes. So, ang same na nila is plasma membrane and cytoplasm. Will all present. So, the next one is part of cells. The cells, the main part of cells. First is nucleus, plasma membrane, cytoplasm, lysosomes and peroxisomes, cytoskeleton, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, and ribosomes. The main part of cells. First is nucleus. Nucleus can be thought as of cell's headquarters. It is normally 1 per cell, but it's not always in case. Skeletal muscle cells have 2. So the nucleus contains majority cells DNA. What is DNA? That is the deoxyribonucleic acid. So this is composed of 2 polynucleotide chain. So DNA is the reproduction of no organism and the growth and reproduction of organism and viruses. So the nucleus send out messages to all cells both divided and or die. So that is the nucleus in this part. The next one is the plasma membrane. So, the main component of plasma membrane is to ensure its cells remain separate from its neighbor. So, it is developed in a special membrane known as plasma membrane. So, this membrane is predominantly made of phospholipids, which prevent water-based substances from entering the cells. So, some receptors allow certain molecules to and stop others. The receptors and plasma membrane. These receptors act as a name of watch, informing the immune system that they are part of the organism and not in foreign invader. So, in communicator, some receptors help the cell communicate with other cells and the environment. So, posteriors, some receptors help bind the cells into its membrane. So, in this is plasma membrane. So, there are layers of plasma membrane. So, the first layer is phospholipids. So, these are the hydrophobic and the hydrophilic acid. Next is the protein, which is integral and peripheral. Sterols, which is embedded in plasma membrane. And the last one is the carbohydrates, that is attached to the receptors on the outside of the plasma membrane. So that's the main layer of plasma membrane. The next one is the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm refers to the cell content bounded by the cytoplasm. In eukaryotic cells, it is the cell contained between the cell membrane and nucleus. So cytoplasm is the interior of the cell. So that surrounds the nucleus in around 80% of water. So it includes organelles and jelly-like fluid called cytosol. So it is many important reactions that take place in this cell occur with cytoplasm. So that is cytoplasm. The next one is lysosome structures. So under the lysosome structures, the lysosomes is enclosed by the single layer membrane that allows the remainder of the cell to be protected from the harsh digestive enzymes, and that lysosome used to break down and leave the cells of the unwanted material. So it's the main function of lysosomes. This membrane also allows the lysosome to maintain the acidic environment similar to the stomach and the aids in the same digestion. So siya ang parang nag-block na acidic environment. The next one is cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton also helps cell signaling through its involvement in uptake of material from outside the cell, so endocytosis. It is involved in moving materials around within the cell. And the next one is the endoplasmic reticulum. Under the endoplasmic reticulum, or that is the process of molecules within the cells and help transport them to their final destination. So in particular, in synthesis, holds, modifies, and transfers food. So the ear also, or the endoplasmic reticulum, is made up of elongated sacs called cisternia, held together with the cytoskeleton. So there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum, that is rocket endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So the next one is the Golgi apparatus. So this is the site of post-translation translation and modification of lipids. So once molecules have been processed by the ER or the endoplasmic reticulum, they travel to Golgi apparatus. Next, the definition of ER. A Golgi apparatus is sometimes considered the post office of the cell, wherein items is packed and labeled. So once material leave, they will be used within the cells or taken outside of the cells for the use of somewhere or elsewhere. The next one is mitochondria. Under the mitochondria, often referred as the powerhouse of the cell. This is powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria helps to turn energy from the food. So yan siya ang nag-process ng energy from the food that we eat into energy that the cell can use in adenosine triphosphates or triphosphate or ATP. However, the mitochondria have a number of other jobs, so including calcium. So that's under the mitochondria. Storage and all of the cells there. It is apoptosis. And the next one is ribosomes. So under the ribosomes, in the nucleus, DNA is transcribed into RNA, so ribonucleic acid, a molecule similar to DNA which carries the same message. Ribosome read the RNA, so ribonucleic acid, and translate it to the protein by sticking together amino acid into other defined by the RNA, the ribonucleic acid. Now, some ribosomes float fairly in the cytoplasm that attach to the ER or in the plasmic reticulum. This is the ribosome. The amino acid, the condon and mRNA. The next one is the cell division. So under the cell division, in our body, constantly replacing cells. So cells need to divide for a number of reasons, including the growth of the organism, to fill gaps left by dead and destroy cells after an injury, for instance. So under the cell division, there are two types, which is the mitosis. So mitosis, it's how most of the cell is in the body are divided. The parent cells split into two, or the daughter cells, mitosis. The next one is meiosis. Meiosis creates six sex cells, such as the male sperm cell and female egg cells. Meiosis. So a small portion of each chromosomes break off and sticks to another chromosome. It's called genetic recombination. So this means that each of the new cells has the unique set of genetic information. So what is the difference in saying between the mitosis and meiosis? So under the mitosis, 4 stages in total, plus interphase, while the meiosis is 8 stages in the total, plus interphase. The next is happens into somatic cells, while the meiosis happens in germ cells. In mitosis, purpose is cellular proliferation. Then the meiosis the purpose is sexual reproduction. It's the main component or function here. Then under the mitosis, the lead produced to diploid daughter cells, while the meiosis produced 4 haploid daughter cells. Then mitosis chromosome under the relief is the same. And meiosis chromosome number is half in each daughter cell. Then under the mitosis, genetic variation doesn't change, but in meiosis, genetic variation is increased Ang same lang nila, both sides is produce new cells. And similar basic steps, start with a single parent cells. That is the basic similar ng dalawa ng process of meiosis. So that's all. Thank you and